to talk to you about something that's really dear to my heart, and something that I think that my fans especially need to hear when they're looking for reasons why they should vote for Biden. I am a member of the LGBTQ community. I came out as bisexual when I was 15 years old. I was one of the fortunate ones who had very accepting parents who were really incredible about it. And it has been a focal point of a lot of the artistic expression in my career. As a result, a huge portion of my fan base are also members of the LGBTQ community.
HALSEY, let me just interrupt you. One of the advantages of being old,
Yeah.
there aren't many, I'd rather be young, but there are advantages, is that I can remember things that took place before you were born. I went to a public school, came from a working class family, and I had a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Knew a lot of people. Do you know how many people I knew who were open about their sexual orientation? Do you know how many people said, oh, you know, George is gay or Mary is gay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many people there were? Zero.
Yeah.
Is that because they weren't people who were gay? Of course. It just in that culture was an unforgiving culture.
Yeah.
And you did not come out. And it took the incredible courage of Stonewall and many other people to say, hey, you know what? I am gay.
Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed of it. And that's who I am. And you're going to have to accept that reality.
Yeah.
But that is the kind of transition that we've seen. And that is the fight that continues.
I know in 1983, I think it was just 2 years after you were elected mayor, you were called on to designate a lesbian and gay pride celebration day acknowledgement, and you did so. And then after that, in 1996, you voted against the Defense of Marriage Act, which was a really hard vote to make at that time.
It was.
A very hard vote to make at that time. It literally makes me emotional. It puts me on the verge of tears getting to talk to you about it. That amount of courage is completely admirable. You have always been on the right side of history. When I think about my fans, when I think about these young people, and like I said, a majority of them being members of the LGBTQ community, I think about the fact that, you know, they are at a time where it may be incredibly accepting for them in their smaller groups and in their smaller communities to identify the way that they want and to express that. But on a larger scale, there's a storm brewing that serves to really, really cause a lot of damage and violence to them and to undo all of the great work that people like you have put in for us to be able to live the way that we do right now. I just want my fans to know there is no option but Biden. If you are a member of the LGBTQ community and you need protection for yourself and for your family moving forward, because the Trump administration will continue to undo all of the good work that people like you have put in to protect us, and they deserve better than that. I care about these kids, and I want to know that they're going to grow up into a world where they can flourish. And I think that perhaps you can help me explain to them why the Biden administration is really their only option.
Donald Trump will say anything and do anything, no matter how harmful it is to people, in order to win political support. So he will play on every prejudice that people have.
Yeah.
If you don't like African Americans, he is there to play on that one. You don't like Latinos, he is there. You don't like the gay community, he is there. You don't like Muslims, he is there. You don't like people in China, he is there. He will play on every latent prejudice that anybody has ever had. Joe Biden and I will disagree, as I've mentioned to you, on a number of issues, but Joe is a decent human being. He is not a prejudiced human being. And he will, I know for a fact, have leaders in the LGBT community around him, helping him develop the strongest policies that he can to make sure that that community flourishes.
The idea of being able to continue to move forward is obviously a far greater, I don't want to say selling point, but it really is.
This is, to me, you know, frankly, not a complicated issue.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Our job is to create a society which ends the incredible amount of bigotry that exists, and that we accept, you know, we may like each other or not like each other, that's fine. But we don't need to dislike somebody because their sexual orientation is different than ours, or they you know, where they came from is a different place than where we came from. That's about it.
It really demoralizes me sometimes to think that we live in a country that is not only accepting of emotional, physical, and institutional violence against people who are other, not only accepting of it, but actively contributing to it and proud of it and waiting to stand off and stand by, as the president has said. You know, it is really, really demoralizing. So I'm being as calm as I can in this conversation, but I assure you, when we are not on Zoom, I'm on the verge of wanting to shake people and look at them and go, how can you not understand that this is just simply an issue of basic humanity and basic decency? You know, we're sitting here and we're unraveling all of these policies and all of these mentalities, and we're trying to convince people this is the vote because of this, and this is the vote because of this present policy and this potential policy. But really, this is just an issue of human rights. I think that one of the worst things that billionaire culture has done is that has infected the minds of working class people to believe that they are more likely to become billionaires than to end up poor, and that the lower class members of our society from a socioeconomic standpoint are depriving them in some way of resources. And they fail to see from a statistical standpoint that they are closer to those people they consider their enemy than they ever will be in any lifetime to the billionaire that they hope to one day become.